I'm Victoria. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing basically my TBR for September, but it's also pretty much just going to be the books that I am going to be doing for a readathon since I generally avoid TBRs. There's going to be like one possible add-on, just kind of will depend on how things go today, because the way this readathon, which I haven't even said what it is, I'm going to be participating in the Magical Readathon created by Book Roast, and I'm really excited for it, but it also seems very intense to me, just with how technical and all the different things and stuff in it, but it's kind of cool too. It reminds me a little bit of D&D, making like my character and stuff. And if you follow the Magical Readathon, my thing that I'm basically going to school for is to be a dreamwalker, and so there's like different classes and stuff that I have to do and different prompts for each of those classes and stuff. For the majority of these, I have already selected the books that I'm going to be reading for the different prompts, but there were a couple that had like specific things I needed to do for them that I figured would be better shown like on camera and stuff. So we'll just go through the little list of my different classes and what books I'm going to be reading for them, and hopefully it won't get too intense. So the first class that I'll be doing is Alchemy, and for that one I had to pick a book with a sun on the cover. I have them like all on the floor, so just give me a second. For that book, I only had like a couple, like 2 or 3 that had a sun on the cover, but I've been really excited to read this one, and it's His Face is the Sun. And at first I was like, is there actually a sun on the cover or is it just in the title? But yes, in the background here you can see there is a sun, so this works. And I am interested in this book, and I'm also really hopeful that it'll be good because it's just so pretty. Look at the binding. Wait, no, the edges, and then it has like the map on the inside. I just think it is so pretty, and it does sound interesting to me. It looks like we're following like 4 different characters. There's royalty and it's set in Egypt. It looks like we're dealing with like a rebellion and stuff. So sounds like all general things that I love, and I haven't read a ton of things set in Egypt. There was sort of the Daevabad trilogy, but it's like kind of set in Egypt, kind of not, you know? So this might be the first that I've read that like fully takes place in Egypt. The one thing I am nervous about though is this is a pretty thick book. I wonder how many pages this is. 498 pages. Yeah, so it's gonna be quite a bit. And thankfully this one does have an audiobook on my Libby, so I'll at least be able to either partially or wholly listen to it while I'm at work and stuff, so that'll definitely help with the workload, I guess. My next class that I have to take is The Art of Illusion, and this one I actually have to do the second level as well. So the first one is autumnal setting, and it said that this could either be just based off of the cover or the actual setting and stuff of the book, like inside. And so for that one, I ended up going with Day Boy by Trent Jameson, and like it doesn't take place during the fall as far as I know, but it's like a vampire horror story from my understanding, and so it just kind of seemed like a fitting thing, and like also in autumn, you know, there's Halloween and stuff, so it just seemed like it could kind of work. Honestly, for quite a few of these prompts, I feel like I was just kind of going, this kind of fits. But yeah, in this one we have vampires who are called the Masters, and then there's these people called Day Boys that are human, and they like serve the vampires and stuff, and I think like the end goal is to be favored enough that you're then offered to become a vampire. But then there's like discontent among the humans, and so then the Day Boy that we're following, his name is Mark. He, you know, is torn in different directions with like his desire to receive his master's favor and become a vampire, and then also support his fellow humans and stuff. It sounds like it could be a really great time as long as the writing works for me, so here's hoping. And then for the second level of The Art of Illusion, we have Tech on the cover. I didn't have anything that was like high tech, like sci-fi level technology, what you would imagine, but I had I had quite a few things that were like steampunk vibes and stuff, so I decided to go with that because it's kind of techy, just not modern tech, I guess. So for that one, I ended up going with The Clockwork 3 by Matthew J. Kirby. This has this, I guess, like automaton. I'm not 100% sure, but you can see on the inside he's got like the clockwork going on, and I've been wanting to read this one for a while. So I'm really excited to pick this up. I don't know, it's by Scholastic. I'm not sure if it's YA or middle grade, but we've got an orphan street musician, an apprentice clockmaker, and a maid in a grand hotel. Those are the three characters that we're following. It says, as mysterious circumstances bring them together, the lives of these three children soon interlock, like the turning gears of a clock, and they realize that each one holds the key to the other's puzzles. And that doesn't really tell me much about like what's going to be happening, but it does sound like it could be a really cute, fun story, you know? Next we have Spells and Incantations. This is the first of the ones that I haven't picked out yet. It says I need to roll a d6 die, and then the number that it is, I have to pick a book whose page count is like in that range. So if it has a 1, I guess I would need to pick like a novella like 0 to 100 pages. And you know, 1 to 200, that kind of thing. I'm hoping I don't get 1 or 6, because both of those I think would add challenge to either finding a book or finishing the book. But let me hunt down a die and then I will be right back. Okay, I found one, and I also found this like lid that I can use as a dice tray. So let's just roll 4. So that would be 300 to 400 pages. Let me check something real quick. Okay, so the book that I was hoping would fit does not. So I'm gonna be buddy reading Dark Air by C.S. Pacat with Brittany Loves Reading. And so I was hoping that I could get this to fit into one of the prompts, and it hasn't worked out so far, but I do have one more thing later on that maybe I'll get lucky and it'll work for. But it had too many pages, so instead I'm going to be going with Raybear by Jordan Ifueko. I've heard really amazing things about this book, and it has 367 pages, so it's perfect. And so from reading the back, it sounds like the main character, Terasai, she is sent by the lady to compete with these other children to be chosen as like the Crown Prince's Council of 11, so they're gonna be like really close, I guess, kind of like a family and stuff. And the problem is that the lady has included a magical wish that Terasai has, like, she's like compelled to obey, which is to kill the Crown Prince once she gains his trust. My first thought reading that is that it reminds me a little bit of like Ella Enchanted. Now, when I was growing up, I had not read the Ella Enchanted book initially, even though I loved Gail Carson Levine. That was just the one book that I hadn't done. But I loved the movie. I grew up watching that and loved it so much. And so then as an adult, when I picked up the book, it felt off to me, like the main character's a lot younger and stuff. And I know most people feel like the opposite way, like that the movie like butchered the book. It's just whichever one, I guess, you gain access to first. But hearing this little bit that's similar, and then with these characters I'm pretty sure are older, but at least this is YA rather than a middle grade book, so at least like the writing and stuff will be older. But hearing that makes me think that potentially I could like this and then not have the issues that I had with Ella Enchanted. I guess we'll just have to see. Next we have Psionics and Divination. This one I actually have to complete all 3 tiers, and the first one is, it says I need to do a genre spin. So I set this up already on my phone. I hadn't done one of these spins before, so I had to get like an app and everything. One thing that I did that might be not following directions, but it worked for me, was I found one that I liked. I thought it was pretty, and then I just started filling stuff in, but I didn't do all exactly genres. So it's my little spin thing, and I did fantasy, sci-fi, horror, romance, but then I went like a little bit off script I did middle grade, young adult, paranormal, and manga. So some of those are just age range things, and then some are like more specific, and then manga is just the medium and stuff. I don't know if that's like allowed, but for the books that I have and not wanting it to just be for things, I don't know, I guess I wanted like more variety and risk factor and stuff with it. So that's why I did it like that. So let's go ahead and spin this. Wow, I landed on romance. I don't have a lot that I would consider pure romance. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna scope a couple things out. Okay, I have a stack here of 6 books, and this is pretty much everything that I own that I would consider to be the main focus is romance. I'm just going to show them to you, but I don't know if I'm gonna get like fully into them. So we have Dating and Dragons. It's like a cute, I think, high school D&D centered romance. It's the second book in the series. The first one was so much fun. And then we have The Conditions of Will. This was something I just picked up at the bookstore because after reading Magnolia Parks, I was really excited to pick up another Jessa Hastings book. I did start this one a little bit, but if I pick this one, I'll just start it over because I know like with the rules and stuff, you're supposed to read like the entire book in the month, and I didn't get very far into it. Also, I think I've said this before on my channel, but these like frayed edges like this is my favorite detail that like books can have. I just love it so much. Then I have 2 books by the author Harley LaRoe, and they're both book 2s, sort of. So we have Losers Part 2. I had read Part 1 before. Goodness, what happened to this book? I had read Part 1 before and I really enjoyed it, and then just got distracted because romance has a hard time holding my focus, and so I never picked up Part 2. Then we have her monster romance series, and this is book 2, her Soul for Revenge. I don't know what the name of the series is called. Oh, the Souls trilogy. And so this one, a cult tries to sacrifice the main girl, and then she's offered a deal from a demon to give him her soul, and he'll help her claim the vengeance that she seeks against, you know, the people who tried to do that to her. Sounds fun. The first book, I really enjoyed it, so see. This one I picked up at a used bookstore. I don't know how I feel about it. It's very old-timey romance cover, you know, but it's called Fires of Winter by Roberta Gellis. It takes place in medieval England. The main character, the main girl, is the beautiful, cherished daughter of Scottish nobility. She was a sparkling prize of battle awarded to a man who accepted her hand out of duty to his king. So it sounds like enemies to lovers, reluctant arranged marriage type of vibes. I don't know. And then we have Wooing the Witch Queen by Stephanie Burgess. This one would probably be, well, either this one or Dating and Dragons, I feel like would be the easiest reads. It says Queen Saskia is the wicked sorceress everyone fears, and she hires a mysterious dark wizard as the new librarian of her chaotic library of magic. And I think he's supposed to be like Golden Lab personality vibes, you know? It sounds cute. I don't know what I want to do. I think not Conditions of Will or Fires of Winter for now. Wow, I have really polarizing things going on. Do I want to go in a dark romance direction? Well, I wouldn't say Losers is necessarily dark, but darker, I guess. Or do I want to go for like a light, fluffy vibe? I think light and fluffy, because I have some big reads going on for September, and so I'll probably be happy to have something not so heavy, you know? I think I'm gonna go with Wooing the Witch Queen. And so the next prompt that I have to do is a book with a TV or movie adaptation. Surprisingly, I only had a couple of these. I decided to go with The Martian by Andy Weir. I haven't seen the movie for it, but I've seen like the trailer and stuff. Not that I can really remember much about what it's about. Okay, so this astronaut named Mark, he gets stranded on Mars. It says, armed with nothing but his ingenuity, his engineering skills, and a gallows sense of humor that proves to be his greatest source of strength, Mark embarks on a dogged quest to stay alive. But will his resourcefulness be enough to overcome the impossible odds against him? Which, like, video game wise, I really like survival games. And then, what is that classic that I read back in school? Lord of the Flies, that kind of thing. I don't know if this will be similar to that at all, but just hearing that he's having to like do whatever he can to like try to survive on his own on Mars and stuff, I hear like potential for it to be like that. So I think I could like it. It just kind of depends on the direction the author goes, if they're going more for like the mental, emotional impact of being alone, or if it's like the more physical aspect of like, can he manage to survive, you know? And this is only 369 pages. It looks smaller than that to me, but I don't think it'll be too bad. We're almost done. So the next prompt that I have is a book that fits a theme from my recent dream. So I did dream last night. I don't remember it exactly, but when I read this prompt, I knew exactly what I wanted to look for. My entire life, I have had very frequent dreams that kind of center around the same thing, which is being chased. I get chased in my dreams so much, and then like right before I get caught is like when I wake up and stuff. Like I've never actually gotten caught in my dreams or seen what the bad thing that I'm running away from, like what would happen if, you know, like the worst situation. It's just me terrified running and stuff. So when I saw this, I just knew I needed a book where the main character was like on the run from someone. Problem is, by going with a book that I haven't read before, it's really hard to know exactly if books will have what I'm looking for or not. The only one that I managed to find in my limited hunting was Kingdom of Exiles by Maxim M. Martineau. It says, as a charmer, Lena Edenfrell can tame the rare magical beasts that inhabit her world. When she's falsely accused of using her magic to charm human, she's exiled and forced to sell her beloved beast to survive. It's heartbreaking work, but if she can just make it through the next week, she'll have everything she needs to prove her innocence and return to the only home she's ever known. That is, until she learns that the Charmer's Council has sent Nock, the realm's deadliest hunter, to find her, and Nock will stop at nothing until she's dead. And it says some more stuff too. But yeah, so sounds like she's going to be like on the run from this hunter guy. So I think that works. Last but not least for this readathon, I have the class lore, and the prompt for that is just a translated book. So I had a few that I knew off the top of my head because I had like 3 of these, like, are these xianxia? I don't know how to say it, but like Chinese historical martial arts, and the ones I have are all like BL series. I don't remember what the genre is called, but I had 3 of them and I decided to go with this one. It's called Ballad of Sword and Wine, and this says, Shen is the 8th son of the traitorous Prince of Jianxing, a man who doomed his cities and people to destruction at the hands of the foreign enemy. As the only surviving member of his reviled line, Shen bears the hatred of the nation, and no one's hate burns hotter than that of Zhao, the youngest son of the powerful Prince of Lebei. Zhao would love nothing more than to see Shen dead, but against all odds he clings to life. Rather than succumb to his family's disgrace, he becomes a thorn in Zhao's side, clawing his way into the cutthroat political world of the capital. Yet as these 2 bitter enemies struggle against the bonds of their fate, they find themselves drawn together with a force neither expected and neither can hope to resist. I don't even know if this one is going to be like martial arts like the other ones that I have. It doesn't say anything about that in the description, but I haven't read any of them yet, so I don't know if that's like a given for the genre and it's just not in here, or if this one is like a different genre and like doesn't have like cultivation and martial arts and everything. So I guess we'll just have to see, but the setup for the romance, like the roles that they play and stuff, sounds like one I could enjoy, and then also hearing about the politics depending on how in-depth the author goes. That's definitely something that I know I enjoy, so I'm optimistic. So that was it for the Magical Readathon, and then my final book for my TBR is Dark Air. Like I said, I'm doing that as a buddy read, and I love the first book in this series, and I love the author's writing, so I definitely don't expect to have any issues with this book. I'm gonna be so upset if I end up not liking this book, but I guess we'll just have to see. So this is everything that I am supposed to read this month. Here's hoping that it works out. How many books is that? 9 books. That's not a crazy amount for a month, so it's possible that I get through all of them and there's no issues, but it's also possible that I get through like maybe half because I struggle with following my TBRs. But I'm trying to get better about that because I really want to get into like the Readathon community and stuff, and I won't be able to make myself do it if I'm just failing at them all the time. I won't be able to face everybody. That's it for my TBR. If y'all have read any of these, let me know what you thought. No spoilers though. But also, if y'all have made it this far, go ahead and leave a sun emoji in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye!
Take me to kingdoms, to magic untamed, where I'm not forgotten, where I'm not the same.